Tonight, we're stepping into a room of velvet and blood. Why? To explore this incredible parable about our relationship with time, all seen through the eyes of a figure who stands completely outside of it.
This quote, wow, it just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? And it's this very idea we're going to dig into. We'll follow our central figure, the Red Death, as he comes to this profound realization that maybe, just maybe, our whole concept of time is just an elaborate way to avoid a much deeper reality. So our story really kicks off by introducing two incredibly powerful symbols. We have two timepieces, and each one represents a very different, but as we'll see, a very connected kind of fear. On one hand, you have the villager's silver watch. It's described as a tiny, trembling relic. This right here is the small fear. It's that nagging, personal anxiety over every single second ticking away. But then, on the other hand, you have this towering, arrogant giant, Prince Prospero's enormous ebony clock. And that's the great fear, this huge architectural obsession with trying to hold back the inevitable. But here's the kicker. The Red Death looks at both, the peasant's quiet tick and the prince's thunderous beat. And he sees they're born from the exact same lie.
So what is that lie? Well, this is where the parable takes us deeper, and it reveals the real purpose these clocks serve. And, it might feel a little uncomfortably familiar.
The Red Death sees these clocks as tools of something called the spirit of gravity. Now think of it like this. It's the collective weight of all our human fears and social rules. It's the force that kind of anchors our souls to this linear, measured life. The same force that keeps us chained to our desks, our calendars, our endless schedules. It stops us from experiencing something bigger. And both of these timepieces, the little silver toy and the giant ebony clock, are just instruments of this oppressive force. And that's the crucial point, isn't it? These things that we build to create order, to measure our progress. Well, this story flips that idea on its head. They aren't tools of liberation. They're cages, designed, whether we know it or not, to imprison our spirit within the relentless tick-tock of our own decay. You can just picture it, can't you? This perfectly illustrates the effect. The prince's guests are literally trapped by the clock's gears. They're living in a constant state of terror, stuck between a past they regret and a future they're terrified of. And every single time that iron chime rings out, they just cower. It's a perfect image of a life completely ruled by the dread of time passing. All right, so all of this builds to the climax of the parable, this moment of really decisive, almost violent rejection. He's just looking at this little machine, right? The symbol of what the story calls petty duration. The tiny slices of time that the villager had so desperately, so fearfully clung to his whole life. And you can almost feel this cold, hollow amusement he feels, thinking that we believe these little measurements actually give our lives meaning. And then, with just a single, simple, and final move, he acts against that small fear. The little springs inside snap. The ticking stops. It's over. This act is so much more than just destruction. It is a statement, a silent but absolutely crushing no to the kind of time that's measured by nagging, personal anxiety, the complete tyranny of the second hand. And in that exact moment, as if it's an answer, the great ebony clock, the symbol of that bigger societal fear, starts to strike its final thunderous hour. The clock strikes 12. So now we get to see the aftermath. We get to watch as this huge, arrogant measurement of time finally comes to an end. Now this is so interesting, the way the sound is reframed. I mean, that relentless beat that ruled the entire fortress, that dictated every single dance, every pause. It's revealed for what it really was. It wasn't a heartbeat. It was the rattling of a chain. And now, that chain has been shattered for good. The pendulum takes its last swing. The clock's internal life just ceases. Its gears grind to a stop, as if the sheer weight of the Red Death's gaze was enough to snap its iron spine. Okay, this is such a crucial distinction. The silence that fills that room isn't emptiness. It's not a lack of something. It is the presence of something new, a reality that is finally unmasked, raw and totally liberated from the ticking that had defined it for so long. So in our final section here, the Red Death finishes his journey, and he leaves the complete wreckage of human time behind him. And there they are, the two cages, the small one and the great one. Now they're just powerless artifacts. They've become monuments, but not to greatness. They're monuments to a defeated era of fear and measurement.
You see, by conquering both the small fear and the great fear, he rises above them. He becomes a kind of bridge, a passage to a totally different state of being, a place where concepts like seconds and hours have become completely meaningless.
The job is done. The inspection is complete. As the spirit of negation, the Red Death has made his final conclusion. This obsessive human habit of measuring decay is a burden the world just doesn't want to carry anymore.
So ultimately, this whole parable doesn't give us some neat and tidy answer. Instead, it leaves us with this massive, provocative question. It forces us to ask ourselves, if our lives, our societies, our very sense of who we are all built around the constant ticking of a clock, what really happens when that ticking finally stops?